Hello and welcome back, everybody. I am your host, Ray Roberts. This is the Intangible Commerce Podcast, and thank you so much for tuning in. And I want to just start off by saying my apologies. It has been a few weeks since we've posted. Of course, we had the Thanksgiving week, so everybody's a little busy. Things are happening. I've got a new e-commerce business that's launching pretty soon. What is even today? What is today? What is this? Okay, so this is Saturday. It will launch on the 15th. We're going to start doing pre-orders. So that being said, things have been a little busy. But thank you so much for tuning in, and I'm kicking it right off. Picking up where we left off. I'm a little rusty. You're going to have to bear with me. Hang in there. Get to the chopper. So I want to start this off by sharing some what I consider, it's a little alarming, right? It's not your hunky-dory story. Hunky-dory stories? No greater words have ever been spoken in the English language. Wall Street, of course, now seeing all the Chinese eComm growth is starting to focus on investing. Because who cares about the American economy? And I'm starting to understand globalization a little bit better now that I'm seeing it play out firsthand. These companies aren't really caring where the dollars are being spent, so long as the dollars are being spent. And as a whole, the e-commerce market in China, because of direct from Chinese manufacturer apps like Temu, Alibaba, etc., they've recognized that the American market has an appetite for those cheap goods, and they're investing now in that instead of the U.S. market, which they still are, of course. Duh, I'm not dummy, but what I'm saying is it's a problem. Where the money goes, the focus goes, that's who wins. And who loses? We do. Think about the small American business owner. The people who have made their bones on Amazon, right? Amazon, looks like the giant who can't be killed. Well, they can, because they're getting, their user base is getting products from China. They're ordering things, probably even a lot of them from Alibaba. Alibaba Express is something of a unicorn there, but Alibaba's got all those direct to Chinese manufacturer relationships. That's where you build your vendor relationships. You can bulk order from it. For those of you that haven't used it before, that's where you can go to build a lot of vendor relationships to source goods that you then would put online to sell within the U.S. market. Because prior to Temu and let's even say AliExpress. AliExpress never took off quite as sharply as what we're seeing Temu, but it has made somewhat of an impact. The problem here is that all the money stays in China. Yeah, sure, the product shows up in our logistics network, does the delivery, but that's a tiny fraction when you're talking about, one set of, not even AirPods, right? They're selling FairPods. You know what I mean? Selling knockoffs, that aren't legit. They're not even saying they're legit. I'm not saying that they're Apple knockoffs. They're just copies of things like, AirPods and things like that. So that, little tiny sliver of what we're being delivered through our network, it's not impactful. As a matter of fact, it detracts when you consider the maintenance costs and everything else that goes into operating a fleet. You consider the environmental impact that all this has. It's costing us, at the end of the day, money to do this. And now Wall Street is investing in that. Wall Street is saying, yep, let's put our money there. Because who cares where we make our money? So long as we're making our money. We want more billions, more millions. More at the expense of the people who sell these same widgets and gadgets and gizmos on Amazon, because they cannot compete with that price. The manufacturer wins. The house always wins. I'm sure we've heard that expression before. It's nothing new. The house always wins, and they do and they will, especially when Big Brother, let's call him, is saying, yeah, I'm all for that. As a matter of fact, business owner here in the States, I'm not going to put my money in your business. I'm not going to do that. I want to take my money and I'm going to give it over here to the Chinese manufacturer so they can do more and more and more, to the point that what happens? Where does the American business owner go? What do? They can't produce it for the same. They can't sell it for the same. They can't compete. They can't compete with it. And our government is being complacent on this matter, because meanwhile that everybody starts focusing and ordering and purchasing off apps like that, business owners here in America that are feeding their families, buying from your grocery stores, right? Paying the taxes that pave our roads, that do all these things, are being choked out of business. Slowly suffocated. Just fractions at a time, until it builds up and up and up and up. Specialty goods are a different story altogether. Homemade goods are a different category altogether. But a lot of the stuff that we buy and sell and trade and deal in off Amazon, etc., a lot of that is being impacted by these type of things. And Wall Street is just throwing fuel on the fire, because they don't care where they get their money, so long as they get their money. And that's what I think we need to take a closer look at as a country. Now, globalization is not stopping. And at some point, you will start to see those blurred lines more and more and more, until you can't tell which is up and which is down. It'll all basically be the same. But until then, there's a lot of pain and anguish that's going to go into that. So it's a big concern. It's a bit concerning for me as I look more and more into this and see, Alibaba getting overtaken in market cap and all these, some of these apps are growing at such an insane rate. And all this is brought on by the conditions of the country, right? That is the biggest issue here, because prices of everything are so high, people are forced, and China is taking advantage of us. They are taking advantage of our complacency. They recognize it, right? Oh, wow. Well, we can do everything that they're wanting and buying off Amazon. We can do for a third or less, an eighth of the cost. So why not? Let's give it a go. And boom, instantly, Temu. Everybody's buying. It was all over the Super Bowl. How many people watched the Super Bowl and kept seeing Temu ad? It's everywhere. They are targeting you. They are coming after you, and they know what they're doing. They're siphoning money directly from our economy and putting it into the Chinese economy. It is a direct line of money from us to money for them, money that will never re-enter the U.S. economy. Never. Won't happen. And even Indonesia, of all places, I've talked about this before, just to recap, Indonesia, of all places, has said no. Any e-commerce order that's not over a certain dollar amount, we will not allow it in the country. It's banned. Banned outright. How is it that they recognize the protections that their business owners need? Their SMBs can't compete with things like this. They know that and instantly reacted. Stop it. Nope, not happening until we understand this better. This isn't allowed. Not going to do it. But we're not, because we don't care. The money can leave the country so long as the investors have a handle on it. So long as the fat cats have what they want, nobody cares. And that's a problem. We need to get a better handle on that. You have other things like Shein. People sometimes ask me, well, why don't you care so much about Shein? It's a clothing, apparel, and accessory type thing. It's just the same thing as like a Temu, except their distribution center is in the United States. They import in bulk into the U.S. You go online, you buy it. It's discounted goods. It's no different than you shopping at Payless.com, other than Payless has some local shoe stores. Shein's moving that route as well. There are some local retail stores. So they're making a US based presence, meaning the people who work there and shop there, they're spending their money in America. The money stays in America, even if portions of the profits of the company itself are going back overseas to the parent company in China. Okay, sure, I get that. That is another problem. But the biggest issue we have here is that the hundreds and however many growth factor they have of people who are working, they're making a salary. So portions of that money is staying in this country. It's as good as you're going to get. And you could ask the same question when you go buy a Ford. Are you sending money to Brazil if you're buying a truck? Because that's where all the stuff's made. It's assembled here. It's splitting hairs at some point. But that's if you're not familiar with globalization, that's kind of the way of the future. This is one of those things that it's coming. You can't stop it. But what are we going to do about it? How do we control it enough in a way that it's not going to choke the life out of who knows how many U.S. business owners? And I'm not trying to be an alarmist here, but what I'm saying is that we have a problem that we don't fully understand, and our government isn't doing anything about it at all. From what I can see, there is no movement on this issue. But when I look overseas at other countries like Indonesia, they said, no, we're not having that. We're not having that. They even banned TikTok. You can't even buy stuff off TikTok's e-commerce website. Now that's changing quite a bit because what they're doing is, I believe, opening a local distribution center to circumvent that. The problem is, like in Indonesia as an example, if you order something online that doesn't originate from within Indonesia, right? So Indonesian e-commerce is fine, but foreign e-commerce is not. If the item is less than 150, I convert it to US dollar. So if it's not 150 US dollar in value, like amount rather, like, I ordered $150 worth of coffee cups, then they won't allow it. It's banned. You have to order a minimum dollar amount, which hits their tariffs in a way that makes sense. They're taxing it in a certain type of way. Well, that obviously put pressure on folks like TikTok as an example, because this directly happened to them. They were specifically called out on this bill. So they had to then sort of change the way that they did that model, where the goods have to be basically distributed, purchased from within the country. So it's a way of doing it, but that's what I'm saying. Like, if we have that same Shein type, TikTok type distribution network within a country, the products are there, the people are there, the workers are there, the bulk of what's happening is there in that country stands to benefit. Even if China ultimately benefits more based on profits, it still protects, because they have to go through the same basic rigmarole that everybody else has to go through to bring products in, and the same cost structure that everybody else has. They might have an edge for $1 here and there, but it's competitive. And in this case, I can't compete. Call spade a spade. If I were to buy 1,000 of these coffee cups and I bring them into the United States and I try to sell these online, I have to minimum, probably I'm thinking $6.99 at minimum, right? Like, I'm making 30 cents a cup basically. But Temu comes in and says, I'll do the same thing. They're $1.20 to your door, free shipping. Well, it's subsidized by the Chinese government, for one. And for two, not a single business owner in this country can compete with that, other than to say, yeah, but I can get it to you faster. In this economy, people are patient. They will wait. They will wait to not spend that extra $5. And our government is doing nothing about it. It's only going to get worse, because as small business dies, big business picks up, and they only care about profit. It's not going to end up well for you and me, the consumer. At the end of the day, we need to talk about this. We need to press our Congress people about this. We need to press our representatives about this and get an understanding of what they intend to do about this issue. And on that incredibly wonderful bombshell, I want to just let you know about the new format for this podcast because I am quite a busy guy. What I'm going to do is pick a topic each week. I'm going to rant, rave, and cry about it. Whinge for my UK listeners. I'm going to have a whinge. and then that's it. I'm just going to drop right out and leave you hanging and hopefully create some it's so early. I gotta stop with this early morning recording. Okay, listen, I swear I am not trying to rhyme. That just worked. Early morning recording. I need to change this into some kind of a music studio or something. Get a guitar, maybe a drum set. We're changing the whole format. But on a serious note, I'm gonna do quick hit videos. Try to get you guys some content, some value that you can listen to quickly. And I hope you have a wonderful, wonderful day. I can't confirm this will always be on Wednesday because I might post more often, given that I'm doing short stories. We'll see. Nobody knows what the future holds, but I hope that you come along with me. Thank you so much and have a beautiful, beautiful day.